Welcome back to the fight before Christmas, boys and girls. This is an important match. It's the qualifier. It's the first qualifying match in the European qualifier. On the other half of the bracket, we have Targa waiting for an opponent, and we will cast that one after this. But to start this, spawning in the top right corner of the map, it's going to be the red Zerg player from Team Liquid. Give it up for Snute.
In the bottom left, Oz, the yellow Zerg. It's Petraeus. What is that clan?
That is the EPS clan, Zombie, don't you know? It's got famous six-time champion EPS Haswabs as the portrait there.
Oh, okay then.
Educate yourself.
Very uneducated.
Read a book sometime, why don't you?
How? How? Do you even read that many books?
Okay, so I want to talk about this to get away from that conversation. Snute has actually played Petraeus several times when he's been streaming. I'm sure that they've probably practiced once or twice too, to say the least. They're both some of the best foreign Zerg versus Zerg players I know. Snute's lost to Petraeus on stream too, guys. Like, this isn't even a series where I think either of them have an upper hand. These are two players who I think are really well met for each other, or well matched for one another. And this is what one of the rare scenarios you're going to see this kid from New Zealand get to fight Snute on even footing, because they're both in Europe. So no latency discrepancy, no BS about, oh, I had to play on the NA server versus the EU server. Like, this is the best case scenario for each of them.
Awesome. Now they both go for a hatch first. That's a little bold. You know, it's the first game. 15, or an early pool would have been the worst build to open up with, but it's what it is, and they're both playing kind of greedy.
Well, I'm also shuddering. We had Donna cast a little bit earlier today. We talked about that Broodlord game, and now we got Petraeus, the other culprit in that Broodlord game, playing against someone like Snute, who's I don't know. I can't recall a single ZVZ I've ever cast with Snute where I saw him reach for the Broodlords. It's always the roaches with this guy. It's always the mid game, and it's always the dominance through standard play. While we've certainly, you and I have seen him play scrappy with Lings, he definitely seems to be most comfortable when it comes to that mid game.
Yeah. And speaking of Lings, he does go for the gas. So he's going to have the speed Lings. Petraeus looks like he's going to hold off on that, maybe until just playing with 5 minutes, double gas it up. So he's going to be on the defensive a little bit. There's so many different ways to play that, though, that it's hard to say. Like, Petraeus is definitely going to go for the double upgrades, later third, blah, blah, blah. There's all Lings you can do off the back of it. So there's just, you know, swamping with Lings that, you know, your opponent doesn't think you're going to have speed, that type of stuff. And well, Stu gets in here and doesn't really see the gases. Do you see both? I barely saw both. Oh, okay, that's cool. It's a great scout then. Gets out.
Yeah, Petraeus as well gets to the main, sees both of his opponent's gases. Again, I can't stress how refined these guys are to actually play against one another, but I can't help but wonder, like, for Snute's sake, like, he actually did go for that speed. I was wondering if he was going to perhaps cancel that if he saw his opponent open with gasless. Gasless is something that once upon a time was a really big deal, and of course, for I'd say a good like 8-9 times out of 10, like, it was used primarily to defend against players who knew were going to be really scrappy. You know, you throw down those Evo chambers, you'd have the extra queen, you'd have a spine crawler, all because you didn't go gas. The problem is, though, when you do play gasless, while it does give you this sort of ultra defensive potential, it's a lot harder to take a third, it's a lot harder to punish your opponent's third, and for Petraeus' sake, I mean, Snute's not exactly going to kill him with 16 Lings, but Snute's going to make sure that Petraeus never takes that third anytime soon.
Exactly. It's a little bold for Petraeus. He knew that Snute went for a gas, so like, don't go out there with your queens. Don't go looking for an overlord. They're just going to die.
He does run for trouble.
Yeah, a little bit of a wall as well, so he will take that very defensive stance. But like, yeah, exactly, he's not gonna be able to get a third for a very long time, unless he's something tricky. You can go for an all-in off the back of this. Either you get your own Lings, and again, they don't expect you to, and they don't have a Baneling Nest, or you can go for a Ling Roach all-in. You know, you don't actually use the 2 Evo chambers that you get. It's kind of a fake. But if you don't do that, then you're just kind of giving up on a well-timed third.
So getting a little bit bold there, going for that attack on the spine crawler, but again, these Lings weren't meant to be the all-in that slams into the wall and loses. And you're just here for some pressure, some control, and again, making sure that he's got a third base when his opponent doesn't. I mean, ZVZ, it's the game of thirds, let's be honest. That's what so much of this matchup comes down to, no matter what build you go for. Roaches, Mutalisks, or all-ins.
Petraeus, you know, occasionally you see like 3 roaches. That's not enough to stop the lings from canceling the third once or twice. But it, you know, it is what you're supposed to get. So yeah, okay, especially with the lings on the way now. It is going to be that all I was talking about. So he might get a third behind this attack, but he's definitely looking to at least kill Snute's third, if not like a lot of drones, and maybe just win the game if it's really that much of a surprise.
I think at this point too, it's one of those necessity things. You know, you've been behind the third for this long. His Overlord had vision of when Snute put that down. His Overlord had vision of Snute mining from it. I mean, it's really truly a scary thing. But the spine, he does die.
That took a lot longer to die than I thought it would.
Yeah, you always forget they're armored and hella beefy units. But yo, Snute, with everything he's done, he's got a couple of roaches. He's got to be very careful because these cannot extend. Yo, he may have just got caught droning in a very awkward, very bad way. The roaches come up here, the queen's gonna get focused right away. Drones are into the lings, but yo, Petraeus for this all in. I mean, again, like this is the trade-off. He doesn't have a third, so he's got a larger army supply for it. If his army dies, he's in a really bad way. But it's not looking like it's gonna die anytime soon.
Snute doesn't have any Overlord coverage. That is so surprising. That's like the #1 rule of ZVZ, is that you're supposed to see the avenues of attack with Overlords, like especially the main one. Thus, he would have seen this coming. He would not have been droning. I think there was like 6 drones on the production tab when this attack hit. That should never really happen. You might just lose the game.
Yeah, even like the Overlords, like the lings should have seen this coming too. Either way, you know, losing one base, this just puts him on even footing. It's a horrible base to lose because it's the one with the Roach Warren. Pet even walked 2 queens across the map while this was going on. Lots of lings coming up in the main, but he needs roaches so badly.
Yeah.
No
well, the thing is,
oh dear.
Petraeus, his third is now going to be finished, so he will be up a base. This is, if this isn't just a GG from Snute, it's going to be a very slow death.
I would agree.
Petraeus is also up in drones right now. Really, Snute has nothing going for him, not better tech. He's actually going to be down an upgrade, also down Rocheborn and Roche Speed. As a consequence.
That combat transfuse though, these queens being on the other side of the map are no joke, guys. Like, it's a big deal. GG is gonna be called. Petraeus will take game 1 off of Snute.
I was calling y'all in, and maybe like you can win off the back of that if it's that